You ready to rank OC openings?
Yes.
Okay. So Browns, Cowboys, Texans, Jets, Buccaneers.
Okay. The number one ranking, OC ranking, is the Texans because they have CJ Stroud.
Yep.
Number 2 is the Bucs. Number 3 is the Cowboys. Number 4 is the Jets, and number 5 is the Browns. Did we rank them the same way?
I think we got the same ranking, except I would probably flip.
You didn't have the Bucs in yours.
I would flip the Jets and the Cowboys.
You didn't have the Bucs in yours.
I put the Bucs at 2 after the
so
Texans.
We're the same. So Texans,
Bucs. You put Cowboys, then Jets, then Browns.
Yeah.
And it's because of the quarterback conversation.
Right. Yeah. I would put Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott, to me, offsets the fact that CeeDee Lamb's better than Wilson and Adams. He's better than both of them. He's not better than combined. They're better, but he's better than both of them.
Yep.
The run game, Breece Hall was kind of a disappointment last week here. Offensive lines both have major questions.
Yes.
So I'd probably still go with Dak Prescott ahead of.
So let's go through each one of these and discuss what needs to change. So starting with the Texans, obviously the top of their list is protection.
Got to protect.
Finding out a way to protect CJ Stroud.
It was weird. People keep saying, well, they got to use assets to improve the offense. They've used assets. They spent on the right guard. They drafted. They traded to get Tunzel and paid him. They drafted the left guard, was a high pick, Howard. They've used assets at that position. And so I think that was a big reason why they fired the offensive coordinator, because they didn't do a great job in protection. So yes, protection, number 1.
Now, the Buccaneers, obviously you got Baker Mayfield. You've got a slew of really talented skill players there, and you've got a couple offensive linemen that are absolute building blocks to have a tremendous franchise. What is it that needs to change in Tampa Bay for them to get over the hump?
They need speed. And Mike Evans has been a great receiver, but he's not going to be the
Take
speed
the top
guy.
off, no.
You look at McMillan, he's not fast. Good, not fast. Godwin, free agent, what do you do with him? Do you bring back? He's coming off a knee injury. They need speed because they can. You mentioned the offensive line. You get Barton, he's a year better next year playing center.
Yep.
I mean, the right guard's a third-year player. He's a year better. The right tackle's a third or fourth-year player. He's a year better playing tackle. And then, Wirfs is left tackle. So
yep.
I think they need somebody to help take the top off because they don't have that.
Okay. Jets, we've discussed ad nauseum. You got to find somebody to be able to change.
They got to improve their offensive line.
You got to get Aaron Rodgers to live in the 21st century.
Motions, pre-snap, dictate.
And was it Dan Marino that didn't like that either?
Yeah.
He didn't like he liked stagnant. He liked to look at the defense.
Peyton didn't like it either.
And say, this is what I'm going to be playing against. Set hut and go make a play.
Peyton didn't like it either. He I got these over here, this over here, and I've identified what they're going to do, and I know where I'm going with the football.
But that's not the game we're playing anymore. Offensive coordinators, if you ask them, if you sit in these meetings, they say, we want to undress the defense pre-snap. We want to get a peek of something, and we do that with motions, with different formations.
Well, because you have so many rotations on defense now. Why not, instead of allowing them to dictate to you dictate to them?
Have them react to what we're doing.
That's why I like when teams go fast, because now you're dictating to them rather than, and look, the Commanders did it. They went fast. They dictated to a lot of teams this year. I think that's the way to play. Tire them out. The opening drive in that game, the Eagles defensive linemen were sucking wind.
20 plays, bro.
Right. And you got a field goal. You got to get a touchdown on those. You got to get to get a touchdown.
You said playing fast. That reminds me of the Kansas City play where they went. So there's a thing in the huddle where if a quarterback says, okay, we're going to explode to, gun bunch, right, or whatever the formation is and personnel, explode to. That means when we clap our hands in the huddle, we're going to turn and sprint to the ball. Remember, they sprinted to the ball. The Bills swole up inside, thinking there's going to be a sneak, and whoop, out the back door. That's what you're talking about.
Right.
Force them to react to what we're doing.
And even do stuff at the line of scrimmage. Call your plays at the line of scrimmage. Here's the thing a lot of teams have gotten into, and I don't know if you've noticed this, the play clock coming down to nothing.
0.
Why?
Yeah.
Why? It doesn't have to be that way. Why are you allowing that? Why it's happening? Because you're reacting to what they're doing.
You want to have the perfect answer to their test.
And by the time, a lot of times you're getting down to that stage, you're getting delay of games and everything. You dictate to them. We've become a league where the defense is now dictating to you. Dictate to them.
There are certain plays that are installed for the game plan that are tagged as GVA, which is good versus all. So there's route concepts, there's running plays. No matter what they run, no matter what they line up in defensively, we are going to call it and we're going to run it. And then I would say 70% of the playbook is predicated on what they line up in. Are they in an underfront? Are they in an overfront? Are they in bear? Do they have 8 guys in the box? Box count comes into play. That's when you get all those checks at the line of scrimmage, and you drain it down to 1 second, as opposed to, hey, we're GVA here. We're going to call this play. We're going to line up and run it. I don't care if there's 12 seconds on the clock.
Right. And like if you're in 3rd and 1, you know that they're going to have extra heavy personnel in the game, and it's going to, but I still think don't allow them to sub. That's another thing.
Keep them on their heels.
Yeah. And we've got to the point where these quarterbacks are looking around. What are we doing? What are they doing? They're rotating. The safeties are they're showing single high. Now they're rotating down. Now they're going to dictate to them.
Yep.
Don't allow them to dictate to you. And I think that's where the league has gotten a little bit away from that. And that's why the scoring was down. Remember, the scoring was down a lot. And so I think you got to take it back.
And now it's back up. They're getting loose again.
Yeah, getting loose.
They're getting loose.
Well, the Commanders got loose because they play fast.
Yeah, and I love that guy, Jaden Daniels. That's why I got him on the number 2 in my power rankings for chances to make Super Bowl 60 next year. And
here's a question for you. I got a question for you. You're an offensive lineman.
I am.
Team's playing fast. The defensive linemen get tired.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't the offensive linemen get tired? They always show defense hand on hips.
Offensive linemen don't get tired because we're the only position group on the field that never leaves the field, because we practice that way. We train that way. We have that mindset that no matter if the sky is falling around us, we continue to put our hand in the dirt and go play football. The defensive linemen, they're going to go get their nut for a couple plays, and they're going to get off the field and they're going to rotate.
Right.
I used to be like, go get that sad sack of shit off the sideline back. The backup would come in, rush a couple times, and you say, go get your tired ass buddy to come back in here. I'm going to whoop his ass.
It's all they ever talk about is, the defensive linemen are getting tired. Well, the offensive linemen are playing the same amount of time.
Offensive linemen are just as tired as the defensive linemen, but in my opinion, we're mentally tougher.
Yeah.
And we're smarter.
And they don't show it as much. You don't see offensive linemen with hand on hips. And you saw the
body language is huge.
Yep.
Body language is huge. It's just like a fighter. You know what I'm saying? I went and did a couple of these MMA classes with Jay Glazer when I was coming out for the draft, and I've trained in martial arts for a long time since then. And one of the big things is between rounds, between sparring, when you're over there standing in your corner, don't put your hands on your hips. Stand tall. Breathe deep, in the nose, out the mouth, so that when that guy looks at you and he's sucking wind, he's like, what is this thing that I'm fighting against? It's like, I can't imagine being a rusher playing against Lane Johnson. The guy doesn't get tired. The guy is perfect from a technical standpoint. And add that in conjunction with the fact that he's a physical beast, physical specimen. That's got to be a tough day at the job.
Plus you kind of, if you're not going to the, you're going to get some rest when you're standing at the line of scrimmage if you're going fast too. You know what I mean? You're not, and as an offensive lineman, you go back to the huddle, you get a little more rest, but you're going to get, it's not like they're going play.
You know how you get rest? You know how you get rest? You score.
Right.
You go score.
That's always been my philosophy.
You go score. You get to the bench. You slap on the ass and your little bit of water. You put a dip in if you have to, and you get ready to go do it again.
Yeah.
Until they say we're done.
Exactly. But don't go 12
That's
plays.
That's why I love offensive line, man. There's nothing like it. There is nothing like it.
Me too.
Man.
Always have.